started. Okay. Um, yeah, so it's been a while since I've done this, I know. So bear with me as I work through everything. Yeah, looking at the market, it's been really strong. Just been on a tear for a while. Yeah, and we are once again nearing some pretty serious resistances over here. If you look at the 4 hour, so right now where we are, we actually cleared 4300. So that was one point that I was watching because of these peaks over here. So after that, I mean, the thing is, like, we've got the next major resistance that I'm seeing is that actually at 4500. We've got some minor resistance at 4400. Um, so, I don't know. I mean, I don't. I have my doubts whether we get beyond 4400 on this run. I actually favor more of a pullback before that happens, but who knows? I mean, there are definitely a lot of shorts in this market, and people are just chasing right now. But I still prefer that we get a pullback really soon. Okay, we'll come back to the general market later. So I just wanted to let me I'll go over all of the different indicators that we track in the room, and you know, what all we look at, and then we look at the trading system after that, and the different legs, or different components of it, and what all changed since the last iteration. Okay, so first I'll just start with the basic indicators first. So the one of the main indicators that we look at in the room is Nile 1M. It may be, those who have already been here for a while know this very well. So it's just the new highs on the NYSE index over the last month minus the new lows over the last 1 month. So, like, within the last 1 month, if any stock made a new high, a new 1 month high, it would get factored in that number. Similar for the low also. And we subtract the new highs from the new lows. So if you just type in this value into Thinkorswim, it will give you a daily value. So for today, it's actually 757 right now. So that means that there are this many new highs more than new lows, basically. So it gives us a very good indicator of how strong the market is. So this indicator, I use it in a lot of my different um, calculations, and it gives us a good picture of where the market is it getting close to a turn, or is it topping out, and so on. So the daily value that gets that forms here, this is an intraday value right now. At the end of day, it may be somewhere close to 800. So we will take that value and put it in here every day. So let's say it's 800 right now. And the value from every day, I just put it into a spreadsheet, and we calculate the cumulative of that, and we have an EMA from that. And as long as the cumulative value is over the EMA, we have a buy signal. So that is the core Nile 1M indicator over here. It went to a buy back in July, I believe. That's the core, and it's been on a buy ever since. Okay, so that is a Nile 1M core, and based on the day-to-day value, we derive the micro, what I call as the micro one indicator. That is basically the delta change of the cumulative from day to day. And as long as we're ticking higher, the micro one will stay on a buy. It is just the really lowest time frame of the Nile 1M indicator. Long as it's ticking higher, we've got a buy. So it actually went to a buy on the 21st of June. Then we had a few whipsaws in between, but it's generally been on a buy since the lows. Okay, so that is micro one. Then the same thing, a little bit higher time frame, we've got the micro two, the micro three, and that's just an hourly version of the Nile 1M chart. So this one is a little bit more slower. It's between the micro one and the core. So core is on a daily time frame. That's what I'm showing over here. And we have the hourly time frame, which is the micro three indicator. So if we go back in time, this one went to a buy sometime in mid of July, and it's been on a buy since then. Okay, so this is a much slower version of the Nile 1M indicator. I mean, faster than micro one. Sorry, faster than the daily, but slower than micro one. Kind of in between both of them. So the micro one we tracked, micro three we tracked, which is shown over here, and then similarly we've got the daily or the core, which is here. And all of these indicators are tracked in the site. If you go to the indicators tab, you can pull up the micro indicators. It's got micro one and micro three. If you go to core, you've got the core indicator, which is on a buy right now. It's been since 39.60, right? And the micro indicators have been on buy since micro 3 has been a buy since 38.38. Micro 1, like I said, it's been moving a little bit back and forth. Okay, so those are the different Nile 1M indicators. And if we look in here, we've got a few other indicators that we look at. One of them is the secret indicator combo. So that is another one that I track. It's shown over here. So this one is basically the red and the black dots. As long as it's going up, the trend is up. So this is just basically a very simple trend following indicator. I don't really have much to talk about it. It's just based on price and some internal action. Um, so that is also tracked here in the core indicator table. It's been on a buy since 38.25. Okay, so those are the different non-odds indicators that I look at, that we look at. And if you go to odds, so what odds is, so what odds used to be. So at least until when it changed, I changed the logic of odds in mid of June. Until then, odds was a simple, I wouldn't say simple, it was a price prediction based algo, basically. So the it was working really well for most of 2020 and 2021, but towards the end of 2021, it started performing really badly. I mean, I can speculate a lot of why this was the case, but it doesn't matter really. I think it may be, maybe because of bear market conditions or, gamma going negative. I don't know what it is, but the simple fact is, I mean, nothing works all the time. So this whole thing stopped working. So at that point of time, I realized that we cannot rely on that price predictive algo alone. We have got to add something else to it to avoid getting caught up in bad trades or getting either too early into the trade or too late out of the trade. So that's basically what was happening in the original odds, or the older odds iteration. So in order to avoid those issues, I had to add two other components to odds, which is based internals was one of them, and the second one was a simple sentiment tool. So I'm using name for that, for the sentiment part. So it's basically a survey of managers, money managers who invest money, and they, based on how committed they are into the market, I get buy and sell signals on sentiment. And that is one of the components that I use, in addition to the price component for odds. And the third one is based on internals. Okay, so sentiment works on a contrarian basis. So when we have, too many managers committed to the long side, which we do have right now, that is a sell. But by itself, it doesn't mean anything. We need two out of the three components to be on a sell or a buy for us to have a trade signal. Okay, so if you look at this sheet over here, I'm showing how the different indicators were acting. So we've got internals over here. It's been on a buy since 727. Price has been on similarly on a buy much before that. Sentiment went to a sell on 721, and it's been on a sell. So basically, we need two out of three of these components to be on a buy or a sell, and then we have a composite, long or short, right? So since 727, which is 4020 on ES, we have been on a buy, and it's been still on a buy until today. And we had a small short there in between, which was a loss. And before that, we had a long from 630. That was a profit. And the first long that we took was on 616 at 3680, which was also a profit. So it's been working well. Of course, this doesn't mean that that it will keep working well. It is working well right now, but with the market, things are never, you don't find the holy grail and then everything just keeps working forever. That's not the way how it works. So we need to keep on adapting and adapting to the market. So I think this current iteration is okay. It is much better than the other one. It keeps us out of trouble, basically. And I tested this whole thing back into 2020, and it's been working reasonably well in all the different kinds of markets. Drawdowns are better compared to the older version. And okay, so this is one of the bad drawdowns that happened in May. But on the whole, it's been doing well, even both in the back test and also since it went live in June. Okay, so we keep on using this and keep on monitoring it to see that we're not having issues. But right now, I like the way that it's acting. Okay, and if we look at I'll just go over the internal leg to just show what we are looking at over here. Let's look at where the market is. It's still good. Okay, so the internals leg, I actually shared this link. Okay, sorry. So I shared this link in one of my posts. If you did not see it, I will share it again. So I've made this whole thing public so that you can look at it yourself if you wish to. So this is basically a collection of 18 chart setups that I look at. And they measure various, both uh, breadth across different markets. Okay, so breadth in the form of advanced decline volume, high lows, and so on, right? So we've got 18 of them, and I assign shorts, um, sells, buys, and cash, okay, flat in for each of them. And sells will have a -5 weighting, and buys will have a +5 weightage, and flats will have 0. Okay, so we have, for example, right now we have 5 sells, 2 buys, and 11 flats, so 11 in cash. So we've got a score of -15. And the way that I look at it is that a big enough jump. So here it was short until this point, which was 39.39. It went long the next day when we had a jump from -70 score to -30. Okay, and it has been on a long signal ever since. Okay, and if you look at the chart, the way that, so this right now is flat. Okay, so why is it flat is, if we, okay, so this is a cell. Okay, AMHL, Amex new highs, new lows. This is a cell. The way that we need a cell to be is, the highest EMEA on top, EMEA 200, is above the 39, is above the 19, and all of them are above price or the signal. So this is a sell. Okay, and similarly a buy. Let's look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ advanced decline volume has been on a buy for a very long time. So exactly the reverse, right? The reverse configuration. So we've got green, the 200 EME at the bottom, the 39 is above that, the 90 is above that, 19 is above that, and above it all we've got the signal line or the cumulative. And this is a buy configuration. Okay, so this was a sell configuration and this is a buy configuration, and anything that is not clearly on a buy or a sell is flat. So if you look at this, for example, NASDAQ advanced decline issues, the signal line is between the EMEAs. So that's basically flat, right? Or it's in cash. So that's how this whole thing works. You've got shorts, we've got longs, and we've got flat, and we just take all the different weightages for them and we calculate the score. So that's what you see when I post that the internal score is -15, right? And once I have 3 of these going to a cell and I get the score go to -30, let's say tomorrow it goes to -30, that is a sell signal for me on internals. Okay, so that is the internals component of odds. Right, so similarly, we've got the price and the sentiment components. So I'm not going to talk about those because I've not really shared what the logic is there. But the price one is the same old thing. Sentiment, I need to see a big enough jump in either direction, and that becomes a buy or a sell signal. So those 3 legs work this way, and we take the composite value, which is basically the odds indicator. Okay, so this is actually just a compare that I put together between the old version and the current version. I haven't explicitly stated A or B or C class in here because it was just easier to do it this way. And in the back tested data, I do not have enough granularity the farther out I go, so I just prefer to keep it as long or short. But regardless, if you look at the compare between, this is the the first row is the old one and this is the new one. So from June 16th, it is in sync, because that's where we made the change. But even before that, around this time frame, I went flat in the room because I was actually kind of working on this other iteration in parallel, and so it went short. So I really didn't want to go long here, even though I tried in between. But that's why I went flat right here, because that one was sticking short, and the market just continued to collapse, as you can see over here. And it's when on 616 that we got the first long fresh that I decided to take it live in the room. And from there, it's in sync, between the two of them. So if you look between the this version and this one, so this is one example, right? So the current version that we have just stuck short throughout this trade. It is very stable. But then if you look at the old version, right, it just kept on trying to pick a bottom. It went short here early April and then gave up too soon, right? And then price just continued to collapse. So I don't, I mean, like I said earlier, right? For some reason, the old system was just kept on getting fooled by the market. But once we added in these two additional legs in internals and sentiment, it's been much more stable, right? It's not getting, picked apart by the market. So, like I said, right, I like the way that it's been acting. Hopefully we continue to get this kind of stability in it. Okay. um, so yeah, I think I shared this, the drawdown stats and everything. I mean, I would really encourage everyone to go through it again if you have not already done so. So there are a few periods of bad drawdowns. I've actually marked them in here. The last one was in May. Then everything else is kind of within 3%. So okay, this one in September of last year, again close to 6% drawdown. I mean, obviously we would get stopped out and then have a re-entry, but just have a look at it and see how bad things can get, and then that's where really our position sizing needs to come into play, right? If you have a 6% drawdown, what does that do to your account, or what does that do to your mindset, right? Which is probably more important than the account, because you need to keep on trading. So yeah, I would really encourage everyone to take a look at this backtest data. Okay, and I am continuing to track that. For example, right, we ever since we went live, it's been good in terms of drawdown. So for example, here, right, in June we went long. The drawdown was just 1%. Here, not even here, 1.5%. So the worst drawdown that we had was on the last short trade. It went to 2%. And the current long trade, the worst that we had was 0.6%. So we have not really been having any really bad drawdowns. So that's a good period for the system. But we can always have this happen again. So be prepared for that is what I'll say. Don't get lulled into complacency, because these kind of drawdowns can still happen, which is why we need to size positions properly. Okay, so that is the system. If you have any questions, type them into the questions section, and I will get to that at the end. Okay, so that is odds, and what else? So yeah, few other. So we've got the RAS charts, and I'm not doing the ES RAS right now. We've got X is posting those, and I am posting um, the ones on bonds, GDX, and USO. I mean, whenever I can, I'm doing that, but that's just a nice to know. Apart from that, we've got the USOHL indicator that we track in the core indicators. I mean, that's been doing really well. As you can see, right, it went short on the 18th of June, and that's also up nicely. USO has been doing really well on this indicator. Okay, we okay. So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I mean, we've also got a few swing indicators in here that I'm just tracking for now. I mean, I tried during the time that the system was having troubles. I tried a few other things. We went through swing, we went through scalp. I'm sure that those who have been around then remember all of that. So I was just trying to find out something so that we can reduce the dependency on the current main ABC system. But nothing really worked as well as that. But these swing indicators are still, I think they're still okay. At least as a nice to know. I mean, for crude, it's short and it's been short for a while. Similar to that, swing NQ and Bitcoin have been long. So I'm just tracking that also in daily inside the daily reports. Uh, okay. So that's all that I had, that I really wanted to cover for today. And maybe I can continue to do more frequent calls in future. We are still on I think where we are, it's 2:30 right now, 1.5 hours to go. Right now it looks like we will get a sell signal today, which means that we will exit the current longs that we are holding, and we'll also have a short signal. Uh, yeah, I know it's not going to be an easy trade to short this, but the signal is the signal. I mean, if you have uh, any concerns about entering a short trade, that's fine. You can reduce your size it appropriately so that you have more holding power in the trade, right? But then also think that whenever we went long around here, right there, everyone was calling for 3500 and 3200. So it's always going to be a difficult trade to take um, when the majority is against you, right? So but then adjust your size, manage your size, make sure that you are adequately sized so that even if the trade goes against you 3 or 4%, you'll be okay, right? That's what will make the difference in your whether you're able to hold on to the trade and to completion. Okay. And when it comes, I mean, looking at the market, right, this can still continue higher, or but the more likely thing that I see is that we're going to get some kind of pullback. Maybe it's just going to be down to 4200, maybe 4000. I don't know. But it just makes sense to see some kind of pullback and then an attempt at another high. Okay. So that's what I would think is the highest probability right now, rather than just continuing on higher. The second highest probability that I would think is that we get a much more deeper pullback down into this area, right? 3900. So, I don't think that we're just going to keep on going higher. So it's either somewhere around here, 42, 4100, a very minor pullback and then new highs again, or we get a much more deeper pullback into 3900. I kind of prefer the 3900 more, but we'll see which one plays out. Okay, so that's what I think about the market, and we also are going to have a trade change today. Okay, so that's all I had. Let me see if anybody has any questions, please type them out in the questions box on the control panel, webinar control panel, and I will get to them one by one. So we will exit. Yes, we have to exit the long-term position too. If you have that, I will be exit. I actually already put in the order for that, and it will get executed at end of day. So if you do have that and you are following along with me, then yes, exit the long-term as well. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. This will be recorded and I will be uploading it whenever it's done, right? So thank you everyone for joining. If you need anything that we talked about in this meeting, just post a question in the main room and in our room, and then I'll get to it. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye.